Hey guys, so I've had a few requests to do a video on what I do pre-market, how I find the stocks that I trade so I don't end up missing any opportunities. So this is what I do. So in the morning, in the chat room that I'm in, we have a Gappers watch list that's presented by Andrew from Vancouver Traders. That's a chat room I'm in. This is just a screen grab of what appeared this morning on the watch list. Now, this is quite simple. Let me show you what's involved in this. Just one sec. So this is it. Pre-market movers, stocks with a price between 5 and 250, where the volume is 50,000 shares. Excuse me. ATR is at least 50 cents, and it's at least up 1% or down 1% from yesterday's close, and the float no more than $1 billion. That's it. That's all it is. Now what I do is I look at that. So that's the list that comes out. And then quite simply, I just go through all of the stocks, which I've already got down here, and I just look at whether they look good on the chart, and I look at the news. That's really all I do at a mark level. So let's look at IRBT first. So first of all, I look at the pre-market. If the pre-market is looking fine, if the price action is okay, for example, if it's sticking to various levels, if it's adhering to the various moving averages, then that's fine. That's the first thing I do. So I quickly scan through that. That looks fine. I'm not worried about the duration at the moment. I'm just looking at whether the price action, well, first of all, whether there's enough price action and volume, and whether to me, it looks fine. Now, so this is a bit messy, right? I mean, what you're looking for is something that kind of, either holds below the VWAP or holds below the 9 moving average or sits above it. But it's something that is predictable in a certain fashion. Like this, for example, this for me is not predictable at the moment. Like it's very, very choppy. So this would be on my maybe list at the moment, I mean, unless this, of course, starts picking up and starts showing a trend. So what you're looking for is pretty much just a trend. I mean, this is good. This is nice. This is a trend. This is something that you can get on the back of. So that's what I'm looking for first. See, this is crappy price action. This is going to come off my list right away because it's very hard to find a trend in here and to follow the balance of power. It's choppy, it's spotty, so I mean, I'm taking this one off. A good friend NVIDIA, it's a bit messy too. This is not a nice looking chart for me at the moment at all. I'll keep it on it only because NVIDIA is always in play most of the time. So that's the only reason I'll keep it on. But this is terrible price action. This is terrible pre-market price action. There's just no way that you'll be able to try and kind of anticipate or even think about which trade, which side of the balance of power you want to be on. So that's coming off. VRX, very iffy as well. I'm going to take this one off. MC, 250,000 shares traded. Not very good at the moment. I'll keep it on just for the hell of it. OEC also pretty ordinary. I'm going to take this one off. This doesn't look good. MC, as I said, doesn't look good as well. DVAX, let's look at DVAX. Yeah, this is nice. I mean, you can see the specific trend coming out. So this is what I will do now. To add to this list, I would also look at some of these top percent gainers. Now, these are mostly the kind of lower float stuff. I mean, this is nice. I mean, you can find some nice things in here. So I would add something like TTPH to my watch list, ETRM, not too bad. Give me one sec. I'm just going to start looking at the news in a sec. So just before the news, as I said, I would go through the low float stocks. So I'd look at what else we have. ETRM is interesting in that it looks to be kind of wanting to break upwards. So I'll add this. And we've already got IRBT, SSC. I mean, if you don't have a lot of stocks, you can always go down this route as well. So basically, I'll just go through this again. I'll make sure it looks okay just for pre-market action before I go to the higher time frame. Looks okay. It's iffy. This one's okay. I mean, this is I'm going to take a video off because this is not decent price action where you can try and kind of jump on buyers or sellers because you just don't know who's in charge. All right, so I've got that. Then I switch to a higher time frame, which is daily, and then all I do is I mark significant levels. So what that means is I mark all the significant levels of price action that are in and around my price. So there, we're at $101.80. So there's no point marking anything down here because the stock most likely won't get to $79. I'm going to try and go back in time a little bit as well. See if there's anything else around here. No, I don't think so. So it looks like it's up kind of at an all-time high. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't an all-time high. So this is where it is. I'd mark this as well. This one. You can obviously zoom in as well, but I'm comfortable doing it this way. It's not going to go to 95, I don't think, but I'll mark it anyway because these are significant levels too. So what I'm doing is I'm marking the bottom of the candles. Okay, so if you're day trading, you want to mark the bottom of the candles, the wicks. If you're swing trading, then you don't worry about the wicks. You just mark the actual body of the candle. So you can see that this is a significant level here for AMD at 1546. Current price is 1516. So let's go back in time and see what else was hitting around that level. So there's a lot happening here. So I mean, I've marked a lot of levels on AMD, so I'm not going to add any more. What about this? So 2640. So, and the moving averages are very strong as well. That's a level. Okay. Let me just go in a bit closer. Now, what I do is you can obviously mark the pre-market action too, if you like. Okay, this looks like it's been an all-time high. So if it's an all-time high, you're not going to have any really good markers because it's obviously an all-time high. So on some of these, you can't really draw good levels on. I mean, something like this, you should find good levels on. All right, so we're sitting at $9.20 now. So this is a level. This is a level. This would be a level down here. I'm not saying it's going to go down that far, but I just want to show you as an example of what I do. So once you mark out these levels, then you kind of know roughly where the stock can go up, what levels it can go up to. This is a high level. This is a low level. This is another low level. It's actually sitting at a level here because this is a level. Basically, the more points it can go through, the more price it can go through. You want to be marking it. Actually, I got that one wrong. Delete that one. Just going to zoom in a little bit and just mark that level here. So yeah, you just want to go through. You want to find lines that will go cross through as many points as possible. So this is ETRM. Oh gosh, this looks pretty bad on a daily chart. Pretty dodgy. Level down here. So what I'm doing is it's marked. It's come down to here. It's touched it here. I'm looking for points that touch as many points on the chart as you can. Like look at this, $4, right? It's touched. Actually, I'll just mark it on. It's touched it here, here. It came very close here. So this is a level, and so it's whole dollar mark as well. So that's what I'll end up doing. This is another level here. I've marked the one here. That's what I do. And once I've done that, I've added my watch list together, and that's it. I'm ready to start my day. Normally it takes about 15-20 minutes. I would look at the news now. So now I would go to Finviz. And what are some of the IRBT? The news is jump 20% jump after sales surge on Amazon. Okay, so that's positive news. Okay, we had AMD. I think that was like a downgrade of some sort. So you want to make sure you've got the date right as well. So today's the 26th. Update new chip fields. Okay, new chip. Okay, so this is positive news. So I'll read the news. I won't go through it now, but you read the news for each of these stocks, and you see whether you feel that it's good news or positive news, or whether it's negative news. You also look at the volume it's had, And I also look at, specifically, I look at, let me just bring that photo up again. I look at the average true range here. So this tells you how much the stock moves on a day. It's very important because if it doesn't move a lot, you don't want to be in it. So I look at that. I look at the float as well. And the last thing I look at Finviz, which this doesn't have. I'll give you an example. I look at the relative volume. Now that's really important. I'll tell you why. Because you want to know how much is the stock currently now moving in terms of volume as compared to on a normal regular day. And this is it. Relative volume, 2.49. So this basically means that this is now trading at 2.5 times in terms of volume what it normally does. Now that is key, because if that's trading so much, that means there's a lot of interest in it, and that's what you want. You want volatile stocks. You want stocks that there's interest in and volume in. So the three things you take away from Finviz are ATR, which is very high, which is good. It means that it moves quite a lot, which is great, gives you opportunity. I look at the float, very small float on this, on a higher price stock. I'll look at how many shares are short as well. That can give you an idea of potential squeeze. And then I'll look at the relative volume. And that's it. And I do that for all my stocks. So let's look at AMD as well. Let's look at how that's going. Relative volume 1.09. So it's trading just a little bit over what it normally does, but not much. So in other words, this news hasn't impacted it greatly. But then this is yesterday's figure. So it's a bit out of whack. The ATR is never big on AMD, 63 cents. So that's probably how much the maximum it'll move in a day. To calculate, I think, over 14 days. You've got your float there and short float. And that's it. And that's pretty much what I do pre-market. Now, in the chat, there's people that share ideas as well. So I'll look at those as well, and I will do exactly what I've just done. So in summary, what I do is this. I go through these. First of all, I look at the pre-market data. I see whether on a 5-minute chart, I mean, this is nice. This is very nice. Whether on a 5-minute chart you can see a certain trend emerging. Then I go to the daily level, which gives you the bigger picture. I mark certain levels on that, and once I've done that, I'll look at the news. You can do it in different order, but that's how I do it. So hopefully that helps. Good luck. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.